Good evening. I'm Andrew Chang.
And I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Things are changing, and they're changing fast. The way we live, the way we work, our sense of safety.
But one thing that won't change, our commitment to you.
The program may look a little different over the coming days and weeks as we adapt to this new reality.
But we will still be here with the facts, the advice from experts to sort through it all with you, because this is The National.
Tonight, Canada closes its borders to foreigners.
We will be denying entry to Canada to people who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents.
With a major exception, why is the United States exempt?
BC reports 3 more deaths from an outbreak at a long-term care home. From those in isolation, fear it could get worse.
I'm worried about people dying alone. That's what I'm worried about.
How to protect the most vulnerable. Our experts are standing by.
If you're abroad, it's time for you to come home.
We do not have a way out of the country.
Canadians stranded abroad as airlines cut flights.
Markets tanking, businesses closing, shelves empty, the economic toll. Extensive coverage of the coronavirus pandemic.
Well, if Canadians hadn't felt the coronavirus changing their lives, they have now.
Every day, every hour, it seems, COVID-19 appears closer to shutting this country down, even as the government's response ramps up.
We've decided to take increasingly aggressive steps to keep you and your family safe.
Among those steps, largely closing Canada's borders after the number of cases more than doubled since Friday to at least 410. The number of deaths has quadrupled to 4 after BC announced 3 more fatalities today. The number of cases in Ontario now exceeds the total number of cases in the entire country last week. The WHO urges all countries to double down on prevention.
We have a simple message for all countries: test, test, test.
And to underscore that urgency, the cold reality of the statistics. Over 180,000 cases around the world to date, well over 7,000 deaths, at least 155 affected countries. Ever-climbing numbers, causing some panic, some uncertainty, and certainly global economic chaos. Now, for weeks, Ottawa had resisted imposing tough border restrictions, but that all changed today as Canada now moves to seal itself off to all but a few favored few. David Cochrane begins our coverage tonight.
He is the Prime Minister of a country that prides itself on welcoming the world, and he's telling billions they can't come here.
We will be denying entry to Canada to people who are not Canadian citizens or permanent residents.
A wartime measure to defeat a viral enemy, with a big exception for the United States, Canada's closest ally.
We recognize that the level of integration of our two economies and the coordination that we've had over the past while puts the U.S. in a separate category from the rest of the world.
Americans can still enter, but will be asked to self-isolate for 14 days, the same as Canadians returning home, and that U.S. exception is being reviewed by the hour. Not that British Columbia needs that hour, with an epidemic next door in Washington state.
Don't come. That is the wrong thing to do. We understand that people are being asked to self-isolate, but better than self-isolate for visitors is not to come.
That Canada-U.S. border in particular is a lifeline.
That means even more exceptions to keep supply chains intact. Flight crews can enter without self-isolation. So can crews of trains, boats, and trucks that cross the border. By Wednesday, most international flights will be funneled to 4 airports: Montreal, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver. Canadians can still fly home unless they're sick.
Any passenger, regardless of citizenship, with possible COVID-19 symptoms will not be allowed to board flights to Canada.
To this point, Ottawa has resisted extreme border measures, but the positive cases of COVID-19 have doubled in just days.
Right now, what we're seeing is that sort of upward ticking of the curve, of that epidemic curve, which with a number of increases in cases over the weekend as well. So that the day-over-day increase tells us something.
And if the government is telling us anything, it's to stay home as much as possible, avoid crowds bigger than 50, urging Canadians to come together by staying apart. David Cochran, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, even as the number of cases continued to grow, Canada's death toll from COVID-19 had for days been limited to a single patient at a BC long-term care facility. Now, 3 more patients there have died. And as you'll see from Tina Lovegreen, at that facility, there is a struggle, not just with sickness, but also despair.
And I want to go back in for my dad, but I'm worried for myself and my son.
Kelly Shillard is staying in as a precaution after tending to her 81-year-old father last week, who lives at the Lynn Valley Care Centre.
I was one of the family members who was in there helping to make sure that people who were in the home got fed.
A dozen healthcare workers there have tested positive. Now, a total of 4 residents have died.
My dad is okay so far. He's really anxious, and he doesn't want to take his pills anymore. And he said that he's done. And I think part of it is just the fact that he's stuck in his room now for over a week.
A tough situation for a guy who loves dancing and being outside. But at least for now, the rules allow Shillard's sister to be with him.
Everything is happening here so quickly.
We spoke to her from outside the care home, which she says is short-staffed, but doing their best.
These people that are coming into work, and some of them are working 16 to 18 hours a day, they are resilient and amazing.
Because of the outbreak, residents are kept in their rooms, and starting today, visitors are only allowed into long-term care homes in BC if it's end-of-life care or under strict rules.
How important it is for us to come together as a community, to connect on a daily basis at least with the people in our community who are in isolation and who aren't able to have visitors.
And those are the people Shillard worries about the most.
And I'm worried about people dying alone. That's what I'm worried about. I'm so grateful that my sister is there with my dad. But there are a lot of people that have nobody in there. And that's what I'm the most worried about. I'm sorry.
Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, North Vancouver.
Okay, joining me now, Dr. Samir Sinha, Director of Geriatrics for Sinai Health System. Dr. Sinha, you know, with that feeling of isolation can come anxiety, as we so clearly see. How do we find the right balance in staying mentally healthy?
Yeah, I think my heart goes out to folks, especially who have loved ones in long-term care homes, because recently many jurisdictions have now said, don't go and visit your loved ones unless it's an absolute emergency. And so, you know, how do you actually create that support network that your loved ones value? And this is where we're recommending that look at things like video visits, telephone calls, what you can do, because that connection is important for both parties. And we have to remember that when we're not just thinking about the healthcare and the clinical aspects of social distancing.
And when it comes to a person's daily life, and if you're an older Canadian, either inside a care home or even if you're just living at home, are we at a point where you should just be avoiding other people as much as possible?
Well, I think this is the concern. That some places are saying that we should avoid visiting anybody who's older in our lives, and those who are old should stay indoors and not go out at all. And I don't think that's really fair. I think the key is that all of us need to protect each other by practicing appropriate social distancing, but it's about limiting unnecessary contact. But that human contact is really important, and there are ways in which we can do it safely.
And of course, if you're sick, stay away from other people, no matter how old you are.
Absolutely.
Dr. Sinha, thanks so much.
In Ontario and late tonight in Vancouver, calls for more action to enforce social distancing. In Vancouver, downtown bars and restaurants will be closed tomorrow for St. Patrick's Day. In Ontario, as Ellen Morrow explains, a call for some wider shutdowns.
At this Toronto bar, the St. Patrick's Day party is over before it even began. Its doors will close indefinitely at midnight.
This is a global issue, right? This isn't a restaurant issue. This isn't a City of Toronto issue. This is a worldwide issue.
Following Quebec yesterday, Ontario's top doctor today called for bars and restaurants to be shuttered over fears of community spread.
With the amount of cases and lab tests flowing through, there are some that do not seem to have a travel history or a contact case, at this stage.
Across Canada, empty streets, closed businesses amidst a deepening lockdown. Schools suspended in all but a few provinces, visits to long-term care homes restricted, and elective surgeries postponed. All necessary measures, says this expert, and timing is everything.
If you're going to do social distancing, you need to do it for real, and you need to do it early on if you're trying to control things.
People are gathering.
Today, BC joined Ontario in closing casinos. It's also banning gatherings of more than 50 people.
This is not forever, but it is important for now and for the foreseeable future.
I do believe we are in a fairly critical period.
Canada's chance to slow the spread of COVID-19 is waning, says the nation's chief doctor.
All Canadians must act now to take all precautions and practice social distancing.
And so a plea from the Prime Minister.
All Canadians, as much as possible, should stay home. Protect your health and that of those around you.
That means closing down when in any other year celebrations would just be getting started. Ellen Morrow, CBC News, Toronto.
Regardless of jurisdiction, some businesses are choosing to change the way they operate right now to prevent people from gathering. So today, Tim Hortons announced that starting tomorrow, there will be no dining room seating at any of its restaurants. Starbucks started that yesterday, moving to a to-go model across Canada. And this evening, McDonald's announced it's going the same route, allowing carry-out and drive-through orders, but no eat-in options.
Now, crucial to slowing down the spread of this virus is making sure people arriving in Canada from outside know that they need to self-isolate for 2 weeks. And as Alison Northcott shows us, after complaints, that message just wasn't getting through. Montreal is acting.
Travelers arriving at Montreal's Trudeau Airport from abroad are now greeted by teams from Montreal Public Health with support from local police, there to reinforce the message to self-isolate for 14 days.
They talked to us about what's going on right now, and they gave us a paper and asked us a bunch of questions.
Il faut travailler ensemble.
Montreal Mayor Valérie Plante says prevention measures need to be stepped up.
We need to make sure that people get it. This is not something we take lightly. We want to contain the virus. The fastest we do this, the better, and the fastest we will go back to our normal life.
Some international travelers who returned home on the weekend said they weren't getting the message to self-isolate.
I think that they need to be a little more proactive about it. I already have to self-isolate because of I work at a hospital, so I knew coming home. But if you didn't have that information already coming home, then I think it would be good to explain to people.
Canada Border Services Agency screens passengers arriving from abroad. A spokesperson said they are ramping up measures, including new information pamphlets and signage and additional officers. But today at Toronto's Pearson Airport.
What they told you regarding quarantine with the 14 days, the border agents?
The border agents?
Yeah, when you arrived.
When I arrived? Nothing.
Nothing?
No. I just read it on the machine that I had to put that paper in. It says, are you aware, do you acknowledge that we advise for you to be quarantined for 14 days? That was all. Nobody said a word.
The federal government says it's now asking all international travelers to declare any symptoms, along with that acknowledgement of the request to self-isolate.
It was actually recorded in writing on your customs card.
Okay. And will you do it?
Of course.
Still, some travelers are resistant, and Montreal health officials say that's why this operation is so crucial. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
Now, quarantine may not sound ideal to returning Canadians already exhausted and stressed out, but at least they're home. For others, the clock is ticking. Thomas Daigle looks at the growing desperation of Canadians trying to get back any way they can.
Welcome to Flight Center. You're speaking.
Getting calls for help.
Certainly I can help you with that. What was the last name on the booking?
This travel agency flooded with questions from Canadians overseas, now in a rush to get home.
Borders have become increasingly tighter, and they're becoming more and more closed and more restrictive in terms of what our customers' options are.
From the federal government, an urgent message.
If you're abroad, it's time for you to come home.
But for some, that's a challenge, like the dozens of Canadians at Casablanca's airport stuck since Morocco shut down international flights.
We do not have a way out of the country.
Turning Caitlin McDonald's 30th birthday dream vacation into something of a nightmare.
So it was definitely supposed to be an adventure and not the fiasco that we're currently in now.
Or how about those on board the Norwegian Spirit, sailing somewhere off the coast of South Africa after repeatedly being denied port, even though no one's tested positive?
We're just ready. Okay, get me home now. I mean, we've never been faced with anything like this before.
The government is promising emergency loans of up to $5,000 for citizens left stranded abroad.
There will be a fund to provide some financial assistance to those Canadians.
But that's cold comfort when the airline won't even pick up the phone.
Due to exceptionally high call volume, we apologize that we are not able to place your call on hold at this time.
Air Canada is promising discounts on one-way fares for returning Canadians, while WestJet simply pledges to return as many Canadians home as possible. Sunwing, meanwhile, has stopped outbound flights, focusing solely on repatriating 100,000 customers.
Or Frankfurt or Munich could be.
Those are some answers for the frantic callers to that travel agency, but as the coronavirus spreads quickly, travel trouble does too. Thomas Daigle, CBC News, Toronto.
So travelers may be unsure of where they go next, but markets today, well, they moved with decisive, violent speed downward. The Dow Jones was savage, losing about 3,000 points. That is 13% of its value lost in a single day. Overall, the Dow has lost about 30% of its value in a matter of just a few weeks. And on the other indexes, the story is similar, including the TSX, which today dropped 10%. So there's often a disconnect between markets and the real economy, but as Peter Armstrong points out, not this time.
Nothing is normal anymore. Even social distancing at the opening bell couldn't prevent the sell-off everyone was bracing for. Within seconds, circuit breakers kicked in, halting trading across the board.
Clearly volatility, absolutely a repeat of last week.
This latest sell-off sparked, at least in part, as shockingly bad data from China showed just how devastating a hit its economy took during the height of the crisis there. Retail sales in January and February fell more than 20%. Factory output fell more than 13%. Even a bold and surprising move from the U.S. Federal Reserve didn't hold off the wave of selling.
Unsurprisingly, the markets haven't really taken the central bank easing from last night particularly well.
The Fed cut interest rates effectively to zero, made it easier for banks and financial institutions to borrow money for longer, and it announced plans to buy $700 billion in bonds, essentially creating money out of thin air and injecting it into the economy. Even the White House lacked its usual certainty about markets today.
It is what it is. We think it's going to get better, but that's, we'll see.
But monetary policy can only do so much. Consider the most common jobs in Canada. For men, truck drivers. For women, retail sales. As many people stay home, shops will close. Some deliveries won't be needed. People and businesses already up to their ears in debt will struggle to pay their bills.
Our focus right now is on ensuring that Canadians who are staying home from work have enough money to be able to buy groceries and pay their rent.
The government says to expect more announcements on that front tomorrow. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
There is one industry booming right now, grocery stores inundated with panicked shoppers. We've shown you the long lines and the bare shelves right across the country. And as Katie Nicholson explains, there's growing concern some supplies won't last.
In 14 years in the grocery business, Robert Lima has never seen meat move quite as quickly as the last 3 days.
Give me another half.
With sales up a whopping 400%. Even though the demand is sky high, he's confident he won't run out.
Calm down. Calm down. I'll be right back. We're not going to run out of meat. We won't run out of product. Just buy what you need. Come back another day. Don't panic.
It's a message shared by the big guys, too. Loblaws reassuring panicked shoppers it will keep goods on its shelves and that it would not, under any circumstance, change its actions or prices to take advantage of COVID-19. And while most of the supply chain is immune to the pandemic, New travel restrictions announced today could have a serious impact on Canada's homegrown food supply. Around this time every year, nearly 50,000 migrant workers come north to labor on Canada's farms. Today, worries those crucial workers won't be allowed into the country.
If we can't get labor, let's say indefinitely, it would really shut down a lot of the horticulture sector in Canada. And so, yeah, if we lost that labor source completely, it would be you can't grow the crops.
That, producers agree, would create food security problems.
If they're not allowed to come in, we will have no crop at the end of this year. We have no people to be able to work it. These people are experienced workers. They worked for us for 20 plus years.
And they have good reason to worry. Multiple industry sources confirm the federal government told them that temporary foreign workers will not be allowed in the country. But the industry is hopeful something can be arranged to safely bring the workers into Canada and on to the farms. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Toronto.
The online retailer Amazon says it is overwhelmed with demand during the coronavirus outbreak. And to deal with it, the company is hiring 100,000 warehouse and delivery workers. They're also getting a temporary raise of $2 an hour through to the end of April. This weekend, Amazon admitted some of its deliveries would take longer than usual, in part because it's having trouble getting inventory.
Now, you've got questions about the coronavirus. We've got some answers. From the facts to the fears. Beginning tonight, a regular segment to help put all of your concerns into context. Plus,
tracking the coronavirus.
Probably an equal number of people will die because they can't get treated for their heart attack or their stroke.
What the math and the medicine say about the future and the changes few have seen coming.
It's bad. It's bad.
And the U.S. president announces another round of restrictions aimed at keeping Americans safe. We're back in 2. Okay, let's bring you up to speed on the big picture. Around the world, there have been more than 181,000 confirmed cases of COVID-19. More than 7,000 people have died, and more than 78,000 have recovered. And sure, the scale of these ever-growing numbers, pretty scary, but they also reflect an important fact. Testing is going up, and we're seeing that in North America, which went from just over 1,000 cases last week to nearly 5,000. Now today, down south, the U.S. president announced measures to fight what he called an invisible enemy. Katie Simpson has more from Washington.
The president arrived armed with a plan, aiming to slow the spread of the disease, a plan that will alter daily life for more than 330 million Americans.
We've made the decision to further toughen the guidelines and blunt the infection now.
People should avoid gathering in groups of 10 or more, avoid eating in restaurants, food courts, and stop drinking in bars. Kids should be kept home from school. And most importantly,
if you are sick, no matter who you are, please stay home.
The guidelines are in place for the next 15 days, but Donald Trump admits the problem may last much longer.
People are talking about July, August, something like that. So it could be right in that period of time where it washes through.
The appeal from the White House is aimed at everyone, including healthy young adults, in part after scenes like this one in New Orleans. Partygoers mixing and mingling despite pleas from authorities to stay home.
It isn't an overreaction. It's a reaction that we feel is commensurate, which is actually going on in reality.
The Trump administration has been widely criticized for its overall response and mixed messaging.
If you're talking about the virus, no, that's not under control for any place in the world. No, I didn't. I was talking about what we're doing is under control.
Some states didn't wait for the guidelines, introducing their own measures. In New Jersey, the governor is asking people to stay in after 8 p.m. And in Maryland, police there will enforce mandatory shutdowns.
This is going to be much harder, take much longer, and be much worse than almost anyone is currently understanding.
For now, Donald Trump says a widespread lockdown, like what is happening in parts of Europe, is not under consideration. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
For many countries, the battle against the virus has shifted from preventing its arrival to containing its spread. Nowhere is that more clear than in Europe, the current epicenter of this global outbreak.
What we're announcing today is a very substantial change in the way that we want people to live their lives.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson drastically ramped up the UK's response today, encouraging people to avoid restaurants, pubs, and theatres and stop all non-essential contact with others. The shift comes after days of criticism that his government wasn't doing enough. Britain is also expected to ask everyone over the age of 70 to self-isolate for up to 3 months.
J'en appelle à votre sens des responsabilités et de la solidarité.
French President Emmanuel Macron announced an almost total shutdown of the country. That's a step similar to what Italy and Spain have done. In a televised address, Macron ordered people to stay at home and go out only for essential needs. The measures go into effect tomorrow and will be in place for at least 15 days. Macron says anyone who violates the order will be punished, though he didn't specify how. And German Chancellor Angela Merkel introduced border controls today, allowing through only residents, cross-border commuters, and physical goods. New border protocols also include health checks, with officials registering anyone displaying symptoms with the health authorities. Almost all shops will close except for grocery stores, banks, pharmacies, and gas stations.
Well, you have a lot of questions about COVID-19, and starting tonight, we are devoting a regular segment to answering them. The doctors are in and standing by.
Plus, tracking the virus, what modeling can tell us about the path of the pandemic and when it will likely end. Welcome back. New school closures, new quarantines, new border restrictions. The pace of change is jarringly rapid because the goal is to slow the virus down, to give hospitals a hope of keeping up. But is it enough? Long before COVID-19 appeared, researchers predicted how a pandemic like this would play out. And now they say both the virus and the response could go much further. Privacy activists the world over may wince, but China makes no apologies for this, enforcing isolation and quarantine in ways the West cannot fathom. QR codes on phones that track a person's travel and health status and either clears them or prevents them from moving around.
It's my first time to come outside after the epidemic, but I already used the QR code several times and I think it's good.
And it was back in early February, which now feels like a long time ago, that China was leading the way in herding a population into compliance. This elderly woman in Inner Mongolia chased and chastised by a drone for not wearing a mask. Is any of this in the works for North America?
Lots of diseases.
There are doctors who wish it were, but also know it's harder here.
We could not do it here, and I don't think most democracies could do that. It's really about leadership, and it's about getting the people to understand the critical role they play in protecting their communities.
But look how tough that's been. This was a bar in Nashville, Tennessee, just this weekend. And a scene like that will make a man like this seethe. Dr. Eric Toner, whose office is surrounded with the tomes of doom, is with Johns Hopkins. He ran this simulation last fall of a new and deadly coronavirus, invited health and business officials from around the world to do a dry run of how a pandemic would impact the planet and what to do about it.
International travel has turned local epidemics into a pandemic spanning the globe.
Everything happening now in the real world, he says, happened in the simulation and right on anticipated schedule. In your modeling, did you have a sense of an additional maybe mortality rate from non-COVID-19 related cases as a result of a pandemic?
It's probably reasonable to assume that the case fatality rate will double because of inability to access care.
Case fatality rate for anything?
Yeah, probably an equal number of people will die because they can't get treated for their heart attack or their stroke. You know, if you're having a heart attack, you need treatment right then. If you're having a stroke, you need immediate treatment. And if the hospital can't take you in for those conditions, then you're in a lot of trouble.
Consider that a warning. The strain on hospitals is the obsession that keeps mathematical modelers up at night.
If you were infected, on average, you would infect 2 to 3 new people, and each of those people would go on to infect 2 to 3 new people.
In Toronto, Ashley Chute has worked through the numbers for Ontario and the range of measures required to not just keep people healthy, but keep the hospitals functional. Everything from closing schools and restaurants to a total shutdown.
So the most effective is this one here, which is where you tell everybody in the population to effectively stay at home.
Like Italy. Like
Yeah,
you just tell
yeah,
everybody, just
exactly.
don't go to work,
Yeah.
don't go to school.
Yeah.
But it's not a straight line. The peaks of infection in her modeling suggest the need for total quarantine for a while, and when that happens, you see the dips in infection. So people go back to activity, and then the rate rises again, only to have citizens sent back home. This pattern repeats until the line flattens.
And so you can imagine that this would be incredibly disruptive.
And you have this strategy over the course of 2 years.
Exactly.
You're not talking, if everybody stays home for 2 weeks, we're done.
No.
That needs to sink in. We're all in for the long haul. But Dr. Toner says he's seen enough to believe there is hope beyond a vaccine.
We think that we're going to have treatments for COVID-19 in a matter of months. We're not going to have a vaccine for a year or 2 or more, but we probably are going to have some therapeutics, some drugs that can be beneficial. Those can move much more quickly than vaccines can.
And long term, Where does this end? The math and the medicine say it ends when the whole planet has immunity, because either the whole planet has had the virus or the vaccine, period.
Once we get to nearly complete immunity, it'll continue to spread. And what we think will happen eventually is that this will become a childhood illness, like the other 4 strains of coronavirus that cause the common cold. This will probably become just yet another childhood illness.
One day, but not now, and not soon.
Well, just ahead on our program, answers to some of your questions about keeping healthy and safe during this pandemic. Plus, social distancing 101. Is it still okay to grab that cup of coffee? What about going for a run outside? Stay with us. Welcome back. The flood of information coming out about COVID-19 right now can feel overwhelming. New Canadian cases are being reported every day. New rules and recommendations are being put into place to slow the spread of this coronavirus. And you, like us, have a lot of questions. So we're dedicating part of our program every night to answering them with a team of doctors. Tonight, we're joined by Dr. Samir Gupta, a respirologist and associate professor at the University of Toronto, and Dr. Samir Sinha, the director of geriatrics at Sinai Health System. Good evening to the both of you. Dr. Gupta, maybe we'll start our first question going over to you. How socially distant do I need to be? Should I stay home whenever possible?
So I think, if people are quarantined, then they're confined to their homes by definition. And what I would say now is that if you're not quarantined, you should act as though you are quarantined. So we really are encouraging people to stay home and avoid all contacts. And that means even contacts with family. Just stay with the people that are in your immediate home and don't expose yourself to anybody outside of that if you don't have to.
And what about something like taking the kids or the grandkids to a playground? Is that okay?
Not unless that playground is completely empty. And so, we contemplated that ourselves, but the reality is that if a few different people have that idea, then a few different people are there. So we're just not in a position where even that is a great idea right now.
Okay, Dr. Sinha, second question goes to you. If I'm returning home from travel abroad, when does self-isolation start? I mean, can you take a cab home?
Right. I mean, you have to find a way to get yourself home, and we're trying to say be smart about it. Try and get home as soon as possible. Don't go visit your friends, go out dancing, go grocery shopping. Get home as soon as possible. Try and do it in the way that minimizes the most contact. That might have to be a cab, and just make sure that other people could potentially do things like get your groceries. But remember, self-isolation, 14 days.
And Andrew, I'll add to that you may be returning from a foreign destination. You may feel like you're fine, but in the last few days in particular, we've now seen studies suggesting that many people will be able to transmit this pre-symptomatically, which means before they develop symptoms, and in some cases asymptomatically. So you may be able to spread this without even being sick. And so it's absolutely essential that you go straight home and don't make any stops and then start your self-isolation.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, this question goes to you. This is one we get an awful lot. What are the symptoms I should be watching for?
So unfortunately, the symptoms of this are really the same symptoms as you get with the common cold. So people will get sore throat, they might get a runny nose, fevers, body aches, they can get a cough. The sort of red flag, which indicates that it's gone onto the lungs and it's now become more serious, is if you get short of breath.
And if you have any of those symptoms, are you supposed to just assume that you have COVID-19 and sort of go into self-isolation?
Unfortunately, it's also flu season, and it's a time of year where people are still catching a lot of colds. So it's very hard to make that distinction. In an ideal world, I would say that you should get tested, but probably because we don't have enough test kits around, we're still limiting testing to people who have symptoms and who have traveled. So the answer is yes, you should self-isolate in case you do have this. And you should call the COVID helpline, and you should call your family doctor. Don't go to your family doctor's office, but call them and ask their advice.
Dr. Sinha, can this coronavirus stick to my jacket when I go outdoors?
Well, if you're not socially distancing yourself and your friend sneezes, for example, that's why we talk about 2 meters, that's 6 feet apart, because again, things can stick to surfaces. Hard surfaces are what the coronavirus likes more, and remember, hours to days is how long it can last, so it could technically last on your jacket, especially if you haven't spent enough time apart.
And are you supposed to then, disinfect your jacket every time you come home?
Well, again, within reason. But again, this is where we want to up our cleaning and making sure that if we do think that someone sneezed on our jacket or whatever, put it in the wash.
Okay, Dr. Gupta, I think we have one more question here, and it is, when will things get back to normal?
I wish I had the answer to that. All I can say is I don't think it's going to be days or weeks. I think it's going to be months, and I think whenever that normal comes, it'll be a new normal. I think we'll all probably be bearing some scars of this, and only time will tell.
Dr. Sinha, I hear that a lot, new normal. What's your take on this?
I absolutely agree. Right now, none of us have a crystal ball. We're just really hoping that if all Canadians can pitch in together, what your neighbors do and what you do, it counts, and we all have to stick in this together.
Dr. Sinha, Dr. Gupta, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, as we mentioned, we will be asking your COVID-19 questions every night going forward, so send us any that you have. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or send us an email at thenational@cbc.ca.
We've been hearing a lot about the importance of social distancing. Well, 93-year-old Mel Brooks and his son Max explain why.
If I get the coronavirus, I'll probably be okay. But if I give it to him, he could give it to Carl Reiner, who could give it to Dick Van Dyke. And before I know it, I've wiped out a whole generation of comedic legends.
When we come back, what social distancing should look like in your life.
I'm JB Poisson, and tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Front Burner, a man with cerebral palsy explains how, for him, social distancing can make the difference between life and death. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back. If there is one thing you can do to protect yourself and others from the coronavirus, it is social distancing. We all know it means keep your distance, but how can you do that and still perform everyday tasks? We asked Erica Johnson to find out.
Hit up a major grocery store these days, they're crowded.
When I first went in, I thought I'm in some sort of weird movie. It was just insanity, just like everybody's it's never seen anything like it.
Everywhere we hear it, practice social distancing, but the message doesn't seem to be getting through.
There's no social distancing going on right now in there at all. The lineups are back to back.
To get some practical tips, we do some social distancing and FaceTime an infectious disease expert.
His first tip, if you're in one of those crowded lineups, ask for space, like this.
So excuse me, if you wouldn't mind stepping back by a meter or so, just so that we all have our own space. Thank you.
He doesn't recommend meeting up for a drink or a bite to eat these days, and neither does the Mayor of Vancouver.
I am asking all residents to think twice about whether they need to go out into public and visit bars and restaurants.
How about when you're just out for a walk? No need to deke out of the way if someone's coming, says our expert.
And so staying on the same side of the street as somebody else is a very, very small risk of transmitting an infection.
With March break upon us, lots of kids are out of school. Still okay to let them play outside?
Keeping them at home would probably be the recommendation at this point. But I understand that leaving the house every now and then and going to secluded parks is going to happen.
The message from BC's top health officer, social distancing is hard, but necessary.
This is what we need to do in our community to keep people safe, to keep our families safe, and to stop this virus from having the impact that we've seen in many other countries around the world.
Health experts hope the social distancing message will take hold, so questions like this prompt a different answer.
You worried about how close everyone is together in there?
No.
Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, unfortunately, not everyone is taking social distancing seriously, and that can be a big problem for those most vulnerable, including people with compromised immune systems. Some of them have been putting out pleas on social media for people to stay home, and we wanted to give a few of them a chance to explain why taking extra care is so important.
My name is Lena Anderson. I live in Toronto, and I'm extra worried about COVID-19.
My name is Jessica, and this is my son Jackson, and he's 6 months, and I have asthma.
My name is Stephanie DePardo. I'm 24 years old. I have a condition. It's a type of arthritis.
I have rheumatoid arthritis and take a medication that suppresses my immune system. That means I am more likely to catch anything infectious, and if I do catch it, much more likely to have a severe case of it.
I'm on Remicade, which suppresses my immune system.
4 years ago to this day, actually, I had the flu and got pneumonia and complications, and I ended up in the ICU for almost a month, much of that sedated and on a ventilator. I was lucky to survive. I almost didn't.
You are putting other people's lives at risk. Someone like me who has asthma, someone like my son who's 6 months old.
When everyone's saying that we should be social distancing, a lot of people my age aren't listening because they think, oh, this won't affect me, this won't affect anyone I know.
I get it. You want to party, you want to live your life, you don't want to be stuck at home.
We are all in this together, so let's help each other. Stay home, please.
As COVID-19 forces Canadians to settle into a new reality and new routines, how small acts of kindness are helping many get through the tough days. Our moment is coming up. We all feel the weight of this pandemic, but even in the midst of it, there are smiling faces like this one. So people across the country are offering small and creative acts of kindness to help others make it through these days, and that is our moment.
We normally open at 9 a.m. We opened at 8 a.m. For seniors only. I thought it'd be a great opportunity to let the seniors in. As we all know, they're the most vulnerable population right now. We had about 100 seniors through and some of their helpers, which was great to see.
I wrote a note and delivered them to the people along my street just to say that if they needed groceries or were too scared to go out, that I could go and do that for them. I have a family that I know quite well and they are panicking trying to get back. I went and stocked their fridge just so that when they return they won't be having to leave.
Normally we have something set up where people can get food for free at our restaurant, and we just kind of didn't want to leave them high and dry. So we met and just decided that we could hand out free lunches. So it really feels like we have lots of support in this. I mean, it's obviously a different kind of coming together because we can't physically be together, but there's not often that everyone's united in the same thing all at once.
Yeah, no kidding. So the key to all this kindness are these caremongering groups. And if you look it up on Facebook, you can usually find it in your neighborhood. But our producer, Eliza, who spoke with a woman today who has a chemo appointment tomorrow, she can't miss it. She put out a request and is inundated with people saying, I'll help you.
Right. Well, yeah, and it just goes to show you the single most important thing that you can do amidst all of this is not something that'll necessarily benefit yourself, but benefit others. That's The National for this March 16th. Have a great night.